Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 2.2 EX diesel. This particular car is registered, and I'll find it in a second, WV57UXM, and mileage at the start of the video is 57,387 miles. The reason we do the road tests is essentially so anyone that may be looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see that car in motion, in operation. We're aware that many of our customers come from not just the UK but over Europe as well, so the least we can do is go to the time and trouble to do these road tests for you. The point of which is to pick up any issues there might be on the car, which you should be told about before setting off to come and see us. Road test is also done on these very quiet country roads, very close to our premises, so it should be should be representative of what you feel yourself. So starting with the car, engine, as always on these engines, starts absolutely instantly, settles to a completely smooth, even idle, and no fluctuations at all. And again, typical of the engine, it pulls absolutely beautifully to the complete rev range of the car. It's a fantastic engine, it really, really is. They're very quiet, especially when you're up into sort of third, fourth, fifth, sixth gears. It's very, very hard to tell it's actually a diesel, but it's got loads and loads of grunt, pulls really beautifully, and of course gives quite exceptional fuel economy as well. No warning lights on the dashboard at all, by the way, relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge, and it's been running for quite some time now, is running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car. Engine then feeds to clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car is absolutely spot on, bike point is exactly where it should be, pedals smooth in operation and quiet, so all good there. Clutch then comes into this brilliant gearbox. It's really how gearboxes should be done for front wheel drive cars, because essentially the gear lever here is joined to the gearbox under the bonnet by cables, as most front wheel drive cars are these days. Unfortunately, that does mean that some cars can have pretty lifeless and vague gear changes, but this is as good as any you'll find which is mechanically joined. It really is a wonderful gear change. Very slick, very positive. Springing between the gears is just brilliantly done, as always. It's an object lesson to other manufacturers in just how to do this, and I can't feel anywhere in the gear linkage at all. It just feels absolutely superb. Coming to the steering of the car, one of the strong points with the chassis. It's very direct, very quick to turn the car. Car flows with it beautifully. It feels really tight and taut in hand. Track's absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all coming through the steering wheel at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. It's all absolutely exactly as it should be. But it just feels wonderfully tight on the road. And for those that enjoy their driving still, it really does respond really beautifully. Chassis of the vehicle, again, what I'm looking for on these road tests is just basically signs of any mechanical wear that, that's coming through the chassis, and normally that's kind of where they sort of chatter underneath, where you get sort of little metal noises touching each other and rubber bushes that may have perished, but there's nothing on this. It's silent in that respect, other than the fact that obviously you'll hear it hitting a bump, but you don't get those horrible noises. But the chassis is brilliant. It's such a lovely dynamic car to drive. As I said, it changes direction so beautifully, but it flows even through the higher corners really well. The damping is fantastic on them. I do hear, we read the same reports everyone else does. People say that the rides can be a bit hard. To be honest with you, on roads like this, it's just wonderfully comfortable. It's only the sharper ridges and potholes that will catch it out, as they do pretty much any car. But driving along on here, it's as comfortable as any car that I've ever driven. It really is. Coming to the brakes, just make sure no one's behind me. Just give those a good old stamp. and a really good brake pedal. And again, what we're looking for on the brakes is basically when you hit the brakes, the car doesn't violently pull left or right. You can follow the contours of the road, that's quite normal, but doesn't suddenly veer off in one direction or the other. And also the brake pedal isn't pulsing or vibrating at all when you're hitting the brakes, and it doesn't in this car at all absolutely spot on. Looking around inside the vehicle, again, I love this interior, and I'll never get bored of it. I really won't. I just think it's just so unique and couldn't be anything other than a Civic, and it's all the better for that. And the fact that it doesn't appeal to everybody, and it's, which I totally understand. But I like the fact that, they've tried to do something different. It looks brilliant. It looks absolutely amazing lit up at night. But more importantly, it works brilliantly. And my favourite part's this two-tier design in front of me, where you've got the most important display of all, your speed, really high up, right on the windscreen virtually. And then I can look at cars in front that I'm following, or pedestrians, but keep my eyes on my speed at all times. It is genius in the way it works. And on these EX models, obviously you've got the sat-nav system, again, working perfectly there, which again is mounted really high and a big screen, so you're not having to squint or look down to try and take that information in at any time. Very clever, and it works brilliantly. It really does, and it is beautifully made as well. There's no squeaks, rattles, or buzzers from the interior of the car. Fabulous things. And then the rest of the dashboard, obviously you've got the big rotary knob here for the EX models with the nav, which does a multitude of things, but it's all very simple to operate and very easy to use. Once you've done it once, you'll understand it. It's that simple. And then the other controls around the dash fall readily to hand. And then below the speedo there, you've got this pod, which almost like a hologram. They kind of float out towards you. This huge rev counter. I'm just going to pull over here because I can see a tractor coming up. This rev counter sort of dominates, with flanked by the fuel gauge and temperature gauge there. I don't think I'll argue with him. But all working absolutely beautifully. It really does. I mean, it's a joyful place to sit and operate a car. It really is. As I said at the start of the video, the point of the videos is to pick up on any issues there may be on the car which are going to fundamentally affect your decision to buy the vehicle. And I can't find anything whilst driving the car that would do that. It drives absolutely beautifully, this car. It really does. Having said that, if I've missed something on the video, please don't hesitate, do give us a call, and we'll happily answer any questions.